Your heart? Bro, it's straight up sabotaging you. It's a traitor chilling in your chest, playing you like a fiddle. They fed you all that BS about following your heart, right? They hyped up passion like it's some magical ingredient for success. Cap. Total cap. Look at the wreckage you've created in your own life, my guy. Every dumb decision you've made, every cringe text you fired off at 2 a.m. that you shouldn't have, every golden opportunity that slipped through your fingers because you were too scared, too anxious, or too hyped up. What's the one thing all these L's had in common? Your emotions, fam. You caught feelings. And because you caught feelings, you took the L. Every single time. The world, it belongs to the ice-cold players. It belongs to the calculated surgical masterminds. It belongs to the dudes and ladies who can stare at a complete dumpster fire of a situation and feel absolutely zilch, except the urge to calculate their next power move. Niccolo Machiavelli, yeah, the OG, who literally wrote the playbook on power. He wasn't out here writing love letters about passion and feelings. Nah, he was talking about virtue, which is basically strategic excellence on steroids. And he understood a truth that polite society tries to brainwash out of you from day one. The person who cares the least, that's the person who controls the most. Period. If you can learn to completely disconnect your reality from your emotional reactions to it, you basically become a ghost, bro. You can't be hurt, you can't be manipulated, you can't be predicted. You enter what I call the zero state, a place where emotions can't touch you. Most people, they're living their entire lives at a fever pitch, going up and down like a sketchy roller coaster. Happy, sad, manic, depressed, over and over. They're like leaves getting absolutely wrecked in a hurricane. No control whatsoever. I'm gonna teach you how to become the eye of the storm instead. The calm center while everything else is chaos. But real talk, this ain't for the weak. We're not here to give you a therapy session or manage your anxiety with breathing exercises. Nah. We're here to surgically remove the part of you that bleeds. We're here to amputate the weakness. If you're ready to stop feeling and start absolutely dominating, then keep listening. You gotta understand what you're actually fighting here. You're fighting your own biology, your own hardware. Evolution didn't design you to be happy, bro. And it definitely didn't design you to be some CEO, some leader, or some world-conquering boss. It designed you to survive in a tribe of like 50 people out on the savannah, dodging lions and gathering berries. Your emotions, fear, shame, that desperate need for approval, all that stuff is outdated software running on new hardware. It's glitching out. Fear was supposed to stop you from getting eaten by a predator. Now, fear stops you from launching that business. Fear stops you from walking away from that toxic relationship that's draining your soul. The software is literally malfunctioning, firing off alarm bells in a room that's completely safe. Here's the kicker. When you feel a strong emotion, your prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain responsible for logic, strategy, and long-term planning, it literally shuts down. Like neuroscience has proven this, you become stupid. You become an animal, just reacting to whatever stimulus is in front of you. No thinking, just reacting. Machiavelli knew this centuries before we had brain scans to prove it. He observed that a prince who ruled based on emotions was a prince who'd be dead real soon. He wrote, "Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that he who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived." Translation? Emotional people are basic. They're simple. They react to whatever's right in front of them. Pain, hunger, lust, fear. And because they just react without thinking, they're mad easy to trick and manipulate. If I can make you angry, I own you. If I can make you desperate for my validation and approval, I own you. If I can make you feel guilty about something, I own you, bro. The first step to winning at literally everything is to reclaim ownership of your own brain, your own neural pathways. You gotta look at your emotions not as truth, not as some deep wisdom from within, but as noise, just static interference. Imagine you're a pilot flying a plane through a gnarly storm. Your instruments are going absolutely haywire. Alarms are screaming at you. Pull up! Danger! You're gonna crash. The amateur pilot, he panics. He follows those alarms blindly, and he crashes the plane into the ground. The master pilot, he ignores the noise. He looks at the horizon. He trusts his coordinates and his training. He feels nothing about those alarms, and he lands the plane safely. You are that pilot. Your emotions are those broken, screaming instruments. Stop listening to them like they're telling you the truth. This is where we leave behind all that self-help guru nonsense and enter the real realm of power. You need to kill hope. I know that sounds twisted. I know you've been told your whole life that hope is beautiful, that hope is what keeps you going. Nah, bro. Hope is a beggar. Hope is the strategy of powerless people. The person who hopes is sitting around waiting for the world to hand them something. They're waiting for luck. They're waiting for mercy. They're waiting for the right time. Machiavelli absolutely despised hope. He believed in fortuna. Yeah, luck exists, but he believed that fortuna was like a wild river that had to be controlled and dominated by force, not some gentle thing you waited around for with flowers. When you hope, you're giving up control. You're abdicating your power. You say, I hope this works out. Meanwhile, the Machiavellian says, I will engineer this situation so that failure is literally impossible. See the difference? One approach is passive, weak. The other is aggressive, dominant. Think about the last time you were in a seriously bad situation. Maybe financial ruin, maybe a brutal breakup. You probably spent nights lying awake, hoping it would get better. You prayed, you visualized, you did all that manifestation stuff. And what happened? Absolutely nothing changed. The situation only changed when you got cold, when you looked at the bank statement, saw all that red ink, and made the brutal cuts that needed to be made. When you looked at that relationship, saw the rot and toxicity, and finally walked out the door without looking back. Action cures fear. Hope just prolongs it, keeps you stuck. You gotta replace hope with calculation. Feel nothing about the future. Don't fantasize about the big victory. Don't dread the potential defeat. Just look at the board, the chess pieces in front of you. Move the pawn. If you lose a piece, don't cry about it. Don't hope for some miracle comeback. Look at the remaining pieces you still have. Move again. That's the zero state. It's a vacuum of expectation. When you expect nothing, you're ready for everything. Machiavelli wrote, a prudent man should always follow in the footsteps of great men and imitate those who've been most outstanding, so that if his own virtue does not reach that height, at least it will have some tinge of it. Great men don't hope, bro. They execute. They move. They act. Start today. Catch yourself saying, I hope. Just stop. Rephrase it immediately. I intend. I will. I am doing. Kill that beggar inside you that's sitting around waiting for handouts from the universe. We're going deeper now, and this part's gonna make you uncomfortable. Good. Comfort is the enemy of growth, the enemy of transformation. If you want to win, you gotta surgically remove pity from your heart. Pity often disguises itself as empathy, but they're not the same thing at all. Empathy is understanding what someone else feels, getting their perspective. Pity is suffering because they're suffering. And honestly, pity is often just arrogance in disguise. You look down on someone and feel bad for them from your high horse. But in the real game of power, pity is a fatal leak in the hull of your ship. It'll sink you. Machiavelli was absolutely brutal on this topic. He analyzed Cesare Borgia, this dude who brought order to a completely lawless region. By being ruthlessly efficient, he executed criminals publicly, terrified the population, and the result? Peace, stability, prosperity for everyone else. Machiavelli argued that cruelty used wisely is actually a form of compassion. By being hard when necessary, you prevent the chaos that ends up hurting everyone in the long run. How does this apply to your life right now? You've got people in your circle who are drowning, and you're trying to save them. You're lending them money you can't afford to lose. You're listening to their same drama and sob stories for the 100th time. You're slowing down your own rise, your own ascent to carry dead weight. Why? Because you feel pity. You feel guilty for winning while they're losing. Stop it. You can't save everyone, bro. And by trying to save the weak, you often just drag yourself down to their level. You become weak too. This sounds savage. I know. It is savage. But look at nature, fam. Does the lion stop to pity the gazelle that's limping? Does it feel bad about the natural order? Nah. The entire ecosystem depends on the strong being strong and doing what they do. If you're a leader, a parent, or a creator, you owe the world your strength, not your shared weakness. When you feel pity rising up in your chest, ask yourself, is this emotion actually helping them solve their problem? Or is it just making me feel good about being some kind of savior? Usually, it's the latter. It's ego dressed up as compassion. Machiavelli advised that it's safer to be feared than loved. Why? Because love is held by a chain of obligation which men, being selfish, is broken whenever it serves their purpose. But fear is maintained by a dread of punishment which never fails. I'm not telling you to terrorize your family or be some psycho. I'm telling you to stop letting your bleeding heart make all your decisions. If an employee is toxic and destroying team morale, fire them. Don't pity their mortgage or their kids' tuition. That's their responsibility, not yours. If you keep them around out of pity, you destroy the entire team. That's your responsibility. If a partner is abusive or toxic, leave. Don't pity their trauma or their sob story. Feel nothing for the excuses. Look only at the results, the actual behavior. This is the clarity of a surgeon. The surgeon cuts the flesh to save the body. He doesn't cry over the blood. He doesn't hesitate because the patient is in pain. He focuses on the tumor. He removes it. Be the surgeon of your own life. There's a wild paradox when it comes to desire. The more you want something, the more it runs away from you. You've seen this play out. The guy who's desperate and thirsty for the girl, he never gets her. The salesman who needs the commission to pay his rent, he smells like fear and desperation. And the client walks away every time. Desire creates tension in your body and mind. Tension creates mistakes, fumbles, stupid decisions. To win everything, you gotta act like you need nothing. This is weaponized apathy. It's the ability to look at a high-stakes situation, a $1 million deal, a confrontation, a crisis, And internally, just shrug. It matters objectively, but it doesn't matter to me personally. When you detach from the outcome, you gain total control over the process. Think about the samurai philosophy. The samurai accepts death before the battle even begins. He considers himself already dead before the fight starts. If he's already dead in his mind, he has no fear. If he has no fear, his movements are perfect. Clean, efficient. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't hesitate. He strikes with total purity. You got to apply this dead man strategy to your ambition. Walk into the negotiation genuinely willing to walk away, not as some bluff or tactic, but because you're so solid in your own value that losing this particular deal means nothing to your overall worth. You'll find another one. Machiavelli writes about the fox and the lion. The lion uses raw force and power. The fox uses cunning, traps, strategy. The emotional man is neither. He's the rabbit. He runs. He freezes when the headlights come. The apathetic man can be the fox. He can play the game because he's not terrified of losing some chips along the way. Have you ever argued with someone who genuinely didn't care about the outcome? It's infuriating for the other person. It's terrifying. You scream, you cry, you threaten, and they just look at you, calm, blinking slowly. Are you done? They win. Every single time. They win because your emotional storm just crashed against their wall of complete nothingness and dissolved into nothing. This is the power you're building right now. Next time you face a crisis, try this exercise. Visualize the absolute worst-case scenario. Really see it happening in detail. See yourself losing the job, losing the girl, losing the money. Accept it fully. Make peace with it in your mind. Say to yourself, I am already dead. This already happened. Then open your eyes and handle the actual problem in front of you. You'll find that your hands stop shaking. Your voice drops an octave, becomes more authoritative. Your thinking becomes razor sharp, crystal clear, because you're no longer fighting desperately to survive. You're just playing the game. And the player always beats the victim. Let's address the elephant in the room real quick. You're human. You're gonna feel pain sometimes. Machiavelli wasn't some robot or psychopath. The dude was literally tortured on the rack. He was exiled from his home city. He knew suffering intimately, but he didn't wallow in it like some emo kid. He intellectualized it. He took his pain and suffering and turned it into a book. The Prince That Survived for 500 Years and Counting. When you feel negative emotions, anger, jealousy, betrayal, whatever, don't try to repress them. Repression leads to explosion later. Instead, dissect them like you're a scientist. Treat your emotions like data points to be analyzed. Interesting. I'm feeling anger right now. Why? Because he disrespected me in front of others. Okay, why does his disrespect matter to me? Because I'm insecure about my status and position. Ah, that's the root cause right there. See what just happened? You moved from feeling the anger to analyzing the anger. You shifted from your limbic system, emotion brain, to your prefrontal cortex, logic brain. The moment you analyze an emotion, it stops being an emotion and becomes a thought. And thoughts can be controlled. Emotions cannot. This is the alchemical process that separates outliers from average people. The average dude gets angry and punches a wall or fires off angry texts. The Machiavellian gets angry and writes a detailed plan for revenge or success. The average person gets sad and drinks or binges Netflix. The Machiavellian gets sad and builds an empire to ensure they never feel that vulnerable again. Fortune is the arbiter of one half of our actions, Machiavelli wrote. but she leaves us to direct the other half. Your emotions are fortune. They're the weather. You can't stop the rain from falling, but you can build a roof. You can channel that water to power your mill. Use your anger as fuel for action. Use your fear as a radar system for risk. Use your jealousy as a map showing you exactly what you want. But never, ever let these emotions take the steering wheel. You are the observer. You are the analyst. You are the architect. Feel nothing personally. Use everything strategically. Now, here's a critical warning. If you walk around looking like some stone-cold statue with no emotions, people will hate you. They'll fear you, sure, but they'll also plot against you. They'll work to bring you down. Humans are social animals. We're wired to trust warmth, to trust smiles and friendly faces. So you gotta learn the art of the mask. Machiavelli is famous for saying, "It is necessary to be a great pretender and dissembler." Inside, you are the zero state. You're cold. You're calculating. You're detached from outcomes. But outside, you gotta be charming as hell. You gotta be warm. You gotta nod and laugh and look people in the eye and make them feel special. This isn't hypocrisy, bro. This is camouflage. This is survival. If you show the world your coldness, you become a target. Society tries to destroy anyone who refuses to play the emotional game. They call them psychopaths. They call them cold-hearted monsters. So give them what they want. Give them the performance they expect. When your boss tells a terrible dad joke, laugh. Not because it's funny, but because it buys you favor and goodwill. When your enemy tries to bait you into an argument, smile warmly. Not because you're happy, but because it hides the dagger you're preparing. The separation between your internal state and your external display is the ultimate measure of control. Can you burn with rage inside, but speak with a voice like smooth velvet? Can you be terrified internally, but stand with the posture of a king? If you can do this, you become unreadable. And if you're unreadable, you're unbeatable. Most people are open books. They wear their hearts on their sleeves, broadcast every emotion. And that's why they're covered in scars and constantly getting hurt. Wear a mask. Keep your heart in a safe. Be a mirror to other people. Reflect back what they want to see. And behind that mirror, watch them carefully. Study them. Learn their patterns. This is how you move through the world without friction. You slide past the guards because you look like a friend. You enter the gates because you know the password. And once you're inside, that's when you make your real move and win. Let's dismantle another lie society's been feeding you. Society tells you that selfishness is a sin, right? They tell you to be selfless, to put others first, to be a martyr for everyone else's benefit. But who's telling you this? The people who benefit from your sacrifice. That's who. The boss who wants you to work unpaid overtime tells you to be a team player. The partner who refuses to grow or improve tells you to be supportive. The family member who's constantly draining your bank account tells you family comes first. They're harvesting you, bro. They're farming you for your resources. Machiavelli understood that a prince must be the center of his own universe, not out of vanity or ego, but out of necessity. If the sun burns out, all the planets die. If you burn out, everyone who actually relies on you suffers. You gotta adopt what I call strategic narcissism. This doesn't mean you're delusional or think you're perfect. It means you recognize that you are the most valuable asset you own. Your energy, your mind, your time, these are finite resources. Every time you get all emotional over someone else's drama, You're writing a check from your own account to pay for their mistakes. Stop funding their failures. You gotta treat your energy like a fortress. The drawbridge stays up. Only those who bring actual value get in. If someone disrespects you, don't feel hurt or offended. Feel nothing. Simply realize this person is a liability to your mission and remove them from your life. This isn't cruelty. This is hygiene. You wouldn't let someone dump trash in your living room, would you? So why do you let people dump their insecurities and toxic energy into your mind? Machiavelli wrote, "A wise prince should rely on what is in his own control, not on what is in the control of others. Your worth is in your control. Their opinion of you? That's not in your control. When you stop needing the world to applaud you and validate you, you become dangerous. You can no longer be bribed or manipulated. Most dudes are cheap. They can be bought with a simple compliment. They can be bought with a smile or a like on social media. They can be bought with the promise of being liked or accepted. But the man who values himself above the collective, he's expensive. He's rare. He walks into a room and doesn't scan for approval. He scans for opportunity. He's not looking for a friend. He's looking for a victory. Be the sun. Burn bright. Let others orbit you, or let them burn up trying to get too close. But never, ever dim your light to make them comfortable. We need to talk about silence, but not the weak silence of some monk meditating in a cave. I'm talking about the predatory silence of the abyss, of deep water. Machiavelli taught that it's essential to keep your intentions dark and hidden. He who wishes to deceive will never fail in finding those who are willing to be deceived. The greatest mistake you make is broadcasting your next move to everyone. You get excited. You feel that rush of dopamine and anticipation. You tell your homie about your business idea. You tell your partner about your plan to confront the boss. Congratulations. You just killed the plan. Why? 2 reasons. First, your brain confuses talking about doing something with actually doing it. You get the chemical reward, that little hit of dopamine, without putting in any work. Your drive evaporates like water in the desert. Second, and way more deadly, you just gave them a map to stop you. When people know what you want, they know exactly how to hurt you. They know how to block you. They know how to leverage you and manipulate you. You gotta become a fog. Be vague, be ambiguous. When they ask, "What are you up to these days?" you say, "Working on a few things." Smile. Change the subject smoothly. When they ask, "Are you mad at me?" you say, "Nah, just thinking about some stuff." Face like stone. Let them project their own fears onto you. If you're silent, they'll fill in the blanks themselves. They'll think, "He's planning something big. He knows something I don't. He's judging me right now." Good. Let them spin out. In the absence of information, the human mind assumes the worst. It assumes power. Use this to your advantage. If you're negotiating something, don't tell them your bottom line. Don't tell them why you need the deal to work. Feel nothing. State your terms clearly. Then stop talking. The silence will become heavy. It'll press on their chest like a weight. They'll start to squirm. They'll start to bid against themselves just to break the uncomfortable tension. You didn't do anything. You just refuse to give them the comfort of seeing your cards. Machiavelli advises us to be the fox. The fox tracks its prey without snapping a single twig. Stop announcing your new era on social media. Stop posting your grind and your goals. Work in the dark. Let the results be the only noise you make. The thunder comes after the lightning strikes. Be the lightning. Here's the price tag. I'm not gonna lie to you or sugarcoat this. If you follow this path, if you kill the hope, the pity, the desperate need for validation, you're gonna be lonely. At least that's what weak people will call it. They'll look at you standing on top of the mountain and say, "Look how lonely he is up there." But you'll know it's not loneliness, it's solitude. And there's a massive difference between the two. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the glory of being alone. The sheep are never lonely. They're huddled together in a big group, warm, smelling each other's fear, moving together in a panic. They're safe in numbers. Yeah, but they're still sheep. The eagle flies alone. Machiavelli was a man of the court for years, but he did his greatest work in exile, alone in his study, conversing with ancient texts and dead philosophers. When you enter the zero state, you lose your tolerance for gossip and BS. You lose your tolerance for small talk about nothing. You lose your tolerance for people who constantly complain but never change anything. You'll look around one day and realize your circle has shrunk dramatically. Don't panic when this happens. This is just the shedding of dead weight. You're trading quantity for quality. You're trading noise for signal. In the silence of your solitude, you'll hear something you haven't heard in years. Your own voice, your true ambition, your real power. The crowd drowns you out with their noise. Solitude amplifies you. Don't fear the empty room, bro. The empty room is where the king sits and makes real decisions. The throne is a single seat. It's not a bench where everyone hangs out. If you want to rule your own life, you got to get comfortable with the silence of the throne room. Embrace the cold. The cold preserves things. Heat makes things rot. The herd is warm, but it's rotting from the inside. You are cold, but you are eternal. We arrive at the final transformation. When you feel nothing, no fear, no regret, no envy, no desperate wanting. What's left? Are you just a zombie? A machine? Nah, you're finally free to love, but not the sticky, needy love of a child. You achieve the stoic ideal that Machiavelli respected. Amor fati, love of fate. But here's the Machiavellian twist. You love the fate you created yourself. When you're emotional, you're a victim of fate. Why did this happen to me? Why is life so unfair? When you're strategic, you're the master of fate. This happened. Here's exactly how I use it to my advantage. You stop judging events as good or bad. Those are words for children. There's only useful or useless. You lost the money? Useful. Now you have the hunger to rebuild smarter and better. She left you? Useful. Now you have the freedom to focus entirely on your mission. You failed at something? Useful. You just eliminated a method that doesn't work. This is ultimate immunity. You become anti-fragile. The more the world hits you, the stronger you actually get. You look at the chaos of the world, the wars, the markets crashing, the betrayals, and you don't feel anxiety. You feel a dark excitement because you know that chaos is a ladder. And while everyone else is crying and looking down at the ground, you're climbing up. You feel nothing for the tragedy. You feel everything for the opportunity hidden inside it. This is what it means to win everything. It's not just about the money or the status or the power. It's about the unshakable knowledge that you can handle literally anything life throws at you. You have the cheat code. You have the manual. While they're playing checkers with their hearts and feelings, you're playing chess with your mind. And the king never, ever panics. So look at yourself right now. Who were you when you started reading this? A bundle of nerves? A reactive machine? A victim of your own biology and emotions? And who are you now? You are the observer. You are the fox. You are the lion. You have the tools to sever the puppet strings. Imagine walking into your life tomorrow with this new operating system installed. The insult lands and you feel nothing. You smile. You analyze the situation. You win. The crisis hits and you feel nothing. You calculate your options. You execute the plan. You win. The fear whispers in your ear and you hear nothing. You step forward anyway. You win. It's a legitimate superpower. It's forbidden knowledge, because if everyone had it, society would collapse. Society relies on your fear to sell you insurance, to sell you status symbols, to keep you working that job you hate. But you've stepped out of the line. You've chosen the cold. And in the cold, you found the fire that actually matters, the will to power. But ask yourself this final question as the silence of reality returns. Can you actually do it? Or are you addicted to your own suffering? Because for many of you, the pain is a comfort blanket. You love the drama. You love playing the victim. It gives you an excuse to be average. To not try. To let go of your emotions is to let go of your excuses. If you feel nothing, you have no reason not to be great. And that's the most terrifying thought of all. Are you ready to lose your excuses? Or will you go back to sleep? The choice is yours, bro. But remember, the world doesn't wait for the sleeper. It eats him alive. Now you know what most people will never understand. Use it wisely, or don't use it at all. Either way, the game continues. The only question is whether you're playing or being played.